Okay, hello everyone. I just got off our Teams meeting and realized to my horror, as far as I can tell, that I messed up the recording. That it lasts all of 11 seconds, that there is there's just me looking like an idiot trying to work out how to use the thing, and that none of the important information that we just discussed is recorded for posterity. So what I've decided to do is record this video and upload it to the Moodle site. I'll go over the way we're teaching. I'll go over the textbook. I'll go over the assessment. And so you'll have it all on record in case anything that I just said in our session was not clear. And of course, this also means that now you will know the click through to the YouTube playlist, since this video will clicking through this video will get you there. Okay, so I introduced myself, didn't I? I don't need to do that again. I don't think that's not hugely important. I talked a little bit about what the module was going to be about, and I told you that we're looking at Eastern and Central Europe under communism. We were going to look at the political story. We were going to look at how this happened, how the communists came into power, how they kept power, how power was challenged, was resisted, and eventually in 1989, how communist power was broken in a series of peaceful revolutions. And I said we'd do that, but also we would spend a significant amount of time thinking about what life was like under communism. And we would do this by thinking about the changes that the communists brought to society, to the way people lived, to the way people worked, to the way people got married, the way people got divorced, the way people spent their leisure time, the way they went shopping, the kind of movies that they watched, the sports teams that they supported and that they followed, the places that they traveled to, their interactions with the family, with the secret police. All of these sorts of things. I wanted to kind of create a vivid picture of what it was like to live under these regimes. And I said I wanted to do this because it's first of all because it's quite a long way away from our own experiences, but also because the experience of communism and the communist period is still a very present one in Eastern and Central Europe. There are no longer communist parties in power anywhere in Europe, but nevertheless, the legacies, the ghosts of communism are still lingering on, and they're still very important to people. Now, we talked a little bit about the course, the textbooks, and I told you the most important one was Richard Crampton's Eastern Europe in the 20th Century and After. That's a general political history, which is very good at explaining what happened in Eastern and Central Europe. It's very nicely written, very clearly written, and I think that this is a very good guide through the material that we'll be looking at. There was a couple of other books that I've put down. One is by a historian called Joseph Rothschild, East Central Europe between the two world wars. That's for the interwar period, the period between the First and the Second World War. Not the one that we're directly interested in, but nevertheless one which gives us a huge amount of important background information. And the second book is Return to Diversity, a political history of East Central Europe after World War II. It covers a lot of the same ground as Crampton, but it does so in a slightly more detailed way. So that's also a book that you might want to look out for. It's not our main textbook, but it has a very good bibliography, and it has a very good take on the period. Now, there are two more books in the second paragraph. Because communism is of central importance to everything that we're talking about, and particularly to your first its assignments. There is a very good book by an Oxford historian called Archie Brown called The Rise and Fall of Communism. It was published about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago. That book covers all of communism on a global scale, from its beginnings in the 19th century right up to its present-day incarnations in places like Cuba, China, and North Korea. And it tells the whole story, and of course, there are many important sections also on Central and Eastern Europe and on the Soviet Union, and of course, these were part of the same political bloc during the Cold War. So that's also very good, very well written, and very clear on what communism is, how it was successful, why it failed, how it manifested itself, and all of these sorts of things. That's also a very good book to sort of understand communism as a political system, as a system of government, as a system of rule. And finally, there's a book called Communism Unwrapped: Consumption in Cold War Eastern Europe by Paulina Bren and Mary Neuberger. It's a collection of essays which deal with the kind of things that I was talking about, the non-political things, for want of a better definition. So shopping, holidays, free time, the kind of things that we all enjoy doing in the West. Would you be surprised to know that the people, of course, also did that in the East, although it was slightly different from the kind of thing that we would recognize. And so that's a very good collection of essays which tell you the story of how people sort of lived and how people experienced communism in Eastern and Central Europe. Now, we talked about the assessment as well, didn't we? And I told you, actually, sorry, before I come to that, we talked about the way I was going to be delivering these classes for the time being. Up until the midterm, so the first 4 weeks of the semester, we're of course entirely online. So what I'll be doing in those first 4 weeks is pre-recording lectures, very much like the one that I'm doing, very much like what I'm doing now. These lectures will appear as links, click-through links on the Moodle site under each sort of weekly topic. That will take you to a YouTube playlist where all of the lecture slides, all of the lecture videos will be uploaded. But I'll be using lecture slides. I'll upload those. If there are Moodle readings, or if there are films or videos or articles that I'm referring to, online articles, then I'll make sure that those are also, that there are links available to all of those sorts of things. So on a weekly basis, I'll be uploading 2 sessions. They probably won't be 50 minutes long. They'll be more like between 30 and 40 minutes, and that will be what we will do in lieu of lectures, in-class lectures, at least for the time being. Now, in addition to this, I would like to meet, as we did earlier today, at least occasionally, to make sure that what I'm saying is relatively clear, to make sure that we're all on the same page, to make sure that the lectures are comprehensible and understandable. So I thought that the first meeting we would have would be on Wednesday in 2 weeks' time. That's on the 14th of October, and we'll meet again when our second session should have taken place at 1 p.m. Irish time. I'll make myself available for 50 minutes. Maybe I'll pose a few questions about the material that we've covered so far, and we'll have a little bit of a discussion. But really, it's the opportunity. It's quite informal. I imagine it will be quite informal, and it'll be an opportunity for you to ask, the questions that you're interested in, the things that are not clear to you. Now, assessment comes in 2 parts. Both of them are written assignments. The first is due in week 5, which is the week after the midterm break. It's a case study, 1,500 words, and the title is Between Nationalism and Communism. And what I want you to do in that assignment is pick a country that's interesting to you, one of the countries that we've been looking at, so Albania or Bulgaria or Yugoslavia or Poland or Hungary or the Baltics or something like this, and discuss the ways in which the communist government and the communist authorities, the communist leadership, attempted to accommodate themselves to the existing national sentiments and national traditions within the country in question. And I mentioned earlier that the communists believed themselves to be a more advanced, a more evolved form of political society and form of political organization. In practice, they were not, it seems. Their hopes that communism would supplant pre-existing identities, pre-existing national sentiments, proved unfounded. And in every single case that we're looking at, the communists had to accommodate themselves to existing national attitudes and existing national values. And at times this could be quite a fraught accommodation. So in countries like Hungary and in countries like Poland, where communism had been, before the Second World War and after the Second World War, very relatively weak, but national sentiment had been quite potent. This was quite a difficult accommodation. It involved a lot of compromises, unwitting compromises on the part of the communists. So that's the first assignment. The second assignment is much more free-ranging. It's worth 70% of the final grade. It's due in on the departmental deadline, which is in January. And this is a larger project in which I want you to explore a topic which is interesting to you that we've covered, or indeed that we haven't covered on the material that we've looked at to date. And as I said, there's really a lot of scope. You can talk about a political topic, you can talk about an economic topic, you can talk about a cultural topic, you can talk about gender, you can talk about men, you can talk about women, you can talk about free time, you can talk about movies, you can talk about television, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's really up to you. This is your opportunity to sort of spread your, to stretch your wings, and really sort of delve into something that you will, that you think is of, that is of interest to you. I'm not telling you what to do on that. It's up to you. But what I would say is that as you're starting to come up with ideas, you might come to see me, hopefully on campus, in my office, but if not, then we can organize those sessions online. And what I really would like you to do is sort of come along, tell me your ideas, and we'll shape them into a essay question, into a topic, into something which can feasibly be achieved in the space of a 4,000 word written assignment. Okay, that's pretty much all of the most important things. We're starting next week with the interwar period. It was good to talk to you, albeit virtually. Like I said, this is not my preferred way of teaching. I would much rather be interacting with you all in the classroom, and bouncing ideas off one another, hearing what you think, and seeing how this material goes down with you all. But for the time being, we're not able to be on campus for very good reasons. So we'll be doing it like this for the next 4 weeks. Okay, thank you.